Today we're going to look at exponential graphs. This is an exponential graph of y equals 2 to the power of x. It's over here. Y equals 2 to the power of x. X happens to be an exponent, which is why it's called an exponential graph. It's an exponential graph. This one is a growth curve. Sometimes we get decay curves, which come the other way, but we're looking at a growth curve today. And in particular, we're looking at 2 to the power of x. You notice there's two key things to remember about this graph. One is that it's got an asymptote here. An asymptote is where the curve comes down and gets closer and closer to this line. As it gets closer and closer to the line, it starts looking like it's disappearing. But the concept is as it gets closer and closer to it, it actually doesn't touch. Although it looks like it does, that's because of the scale, because it just gets so close it looks like it's touching on this graph. So anyway, that's the asymptote. It's the line that the curve gets closer and closer to, but it shouldn't touch. The other point to look at is this point here, which is the point 0, 1. It is the y-intercept in this case, but it's the point that we're going to use later when we look at horizontal shifts. Okay, now let's look at trying to move this one up and down. So we're going to look at vertical translations. Translation means a shift. So if we move it upwards, let's just put that graph on here. I've just coloured it blue. If we move it upwards, you can see the blue line and the asymptote's gone with it, which is green. Okay, it's been moved up and down. So the same as the original curve, which was this one here, the one in red, and we're just moving it up and down. If we move it up here, you can see the translation by looking at the asymptote, because it's really easy to see that. So you can see the asymptote is moved up by 2, but the whole graph has been moved up by 2. If it's moved down, you can see by looking at the asymptote, this one here has gone down to about down by 4 points. Okay, so it's gone from here down 4 points. And you can also look at the focus point and look at dropping down. That's two ways of looking at vertical asymptotes. Right, we're going to now look at the curves, the equations for the curve. Whoopsies, not controlling my screen very well. Okay. This is the graph, the basic graph that we've got is y equals 2 to the power of x. If we just look up at the next one down, okay, you can see that I moved the graph up by 3. Okay, so this point's moved up by 3, but the whole thing's moved up by 3. It's easier to look at the asymptotes. You can see there's a definite shift in the vertical direction or translation by 3 units up. So we just put plus 3 at the end. So let's try another one. If we take the red curve and we shift it down by 2, you can see the asymptotes have a difference of 2 from where the original was, down by 2. So therefore, it's a translation of 2 units down. So we put minus 2 at the end. Okay, we'll try, the next one is a horizontal asymptote, which we'll do next.